sure if you can see me, because I'm very short. But at least I hope you can hear me. Okay, so first of all, good morning to everyone. Buongiorno a tutti. Please let me thank you, COACIT, for having me here. It's a great honor for me and a big pleasure, because I'm the only Romanian in this conference. So I'm neither from Australia nor from Italy or the States. So I'm 100% Romanian. So I'm very thankful for being able to speak to you about the Italian immigrants' influence in my country. So thank you again for the opportunity. I would like to start my presentation by bringing to your attention something that Massimo Livi Bacci wrote in one of his reference works, In Cammino, namely that the action of migration is one of the most natural things for human beings, that is part of their genetic code, and that only through migrations humanity could develop. And here I quote, moving within territory is a prerogative of the human being. It is an integral part of its capital and an extra capacity to improve one's own living condition. It is an ingrained quality that has enabled the survival of hunters and gatherers, the dispersal of the species across continents, the spread of agriculture, the settlement in empty spaces, the integration of the world, the first 19th century globalization. End of quote. Therefore, migration does not mean only moving from one place to another. It is not only an element needed for the calculation of the number of a certain population, but it also has significant effects on all levels of society and human life as one of the most powerful means of cultural transfer. An individual who migrates influences both the place of departure and the place of arrival, as well as his family and society. He brings with him a certain kind of knowledge. He creates new habits and new acquaintances in the place of settlement. He assimilates them more or less, but without a doubt, he mediates a cultural transfer. In this presentation, I shall speak about the migration of Italians in the northeastern part of Romania, called Moldavia, in the last decades of the 19th century and the early 20th century, from the point of view of the cultural mediation that Italians have favored between the two countries. It is very difficult to measure and quantify accurately the changes resulting from moving to another country in the mentality of life of each person individually, in the absence of written testimonies of the protagonists. And unfortunately, that is the situation in most cases. But I shall concentrate on some examples of knowledge, practices, cultural values, or simply art exchanges that are very clear. I'm sorry. The first of these examples is connected exactly to one of the most important characteristics of the Italian migration in Romania, because in most cases we are talking about a migration of workers, thus a labor generally qualified. After becoming a kingdom in 1881, Romania was set in motion by its authorities, the royal house and its government. The country became a real and huge building site to modernize and align itself as soon as possible to the great European monarchies. In those fervid years, the creation of adequate infrastructures and urban landscape that resembled those of modern Europe was always encouraged. Works and public constructions began in all areas of the countries, some built from scratch. Roads, railways, hospitals, public buildings, or new industries. Thus, Romania became a construction site that attracted a large amount of either not qualified, either specialized and professional manpower. The Italian presence in Romania in the second half of the 19th century must be absolutely connected to the modernization of the Romanian state, to which Italian immigrants contributed greatly. Architects, stonecutters, woodcutters, traders, artists, builders of railways, bridges, roads, etc. Therefore, Italians came to Romania with a baggage of technical knowledge that often lacked in the country and undoubtedly contributed to its diffusion among Romanian workers. An example would be that of the forest exploitation sector, where the presence of Italian woodcutters provided skilled labor and introduced a new technology of better quality and higher efficiency. Italians from Friuli and Belluno, who arrived in the eastern and the southern Carpathian mountains after 1880, brought with them the first mechanical sewing machine in Romania. And they were very appreciated for their quick and skilled work and for the high quality of the tools they have brought with them from Italy or Germany. Another interesting case of technological innovation brought by Italians is the bread factory of Ernesto Gerbolini and Antonio Borghetti of Brăila, which began production in 1859. The factory was equipped with the first steam mill of Brăila, and it had attached a very strong hydraulic pump, which later supplied running water for the entire city. On a cultural level, Italians of Moldavia distinguished themselves in the theatre field through various itinerant companies or through the activity of some personalities, such as Italian actress Fanny Tardini, to whom the dramatic theatre of Galați is entitled even today. As for the music field, it is worth mentioning Luigi Ademolo, former tenor of Iași, who in 1853 founded a small theatre in Galați, where plays and operettas were performed with an orchestra formed by some Italians who worked in the port warehouses. An interesting page on the Italian contribution to the development of Romanian culture is that concerns a very special field, situated on the border of sport, art and entertainment, circus. It seems that Italians had a significant contribution to the development, dissemination, and inclusion of circus among the interests of Romanian people. The Italian Teodor Sidoli, who arrived in Romania in 1864, is remarkable in this sense. In 1888, in Bucharest, he set the foundation of the first stable circus of Romania. A circus with its own venue for shows of various kinds. Horse riding, circus performances, but also theatre plays and opera shows. We find his son, Cesare Sidoli, in the 90s of the 19th century, as director of the Sidoli Circus of Iași, as the circus also had a stable venue in the capital of Moldavia. On the circus stage, it was common to see, in addition to the usual circus performances, also theatrical, musical, and opera performances. Apparently, the circus was a place where many foreign theatre companies touring Romania wanted to perform. Here I recall some of the soloists and companies from Italy, including the dramatic company Lambertini, composed of 16 people, that performed in November 1891 after a tour in many other cities of the country. The tragedy actor Ernesto Rossi, who played on the circus stage in October 1895, the lyric singer Gemma Bellincioni, who sang arias of the operas La Gioconda by Amilcare Ponchielli, Un ballo in maschera by Verdi, Carmen by Bizet, and Mignon by Ambroise Thomas in January of 1896, and the lyric company led by Raffaele Di Nagra, who started from March 24, 1896, offered on the Sidoli Circus stage performances from the Aida and the Ernani by Verdi, as well as the Norma by Vincenzo Bellini. The Sidoli Circus venue was also requested for symphonic concerts, as in the case of the Conservatory Orchestra concert on May 3, 1895, under the direction of Edward Caudella. In 1891, among the circus staff, there was, in addition to a great variety of artists of different nationalities, also a certain number of Italians. This was the case of the Mantovani Company, composed of 2 women and 2 men specialized in acrobatics, clowning, and pantomime. That of Maurizio Dio, with his wife and 3 children, who were doing equitation, dancing, and buffoonery. That of the Volta family, gymnasts, horse riders, and dancers. And that of the Ferroni group, horse riders and gymnasts. Besides this, the members of the Sidoli family also participated in the shows, on which Romanian author Rudolf Șuțu writes in his book Iași de Odinioară. And here I quote: Cesare Sidoli, the eldest son of Teodor Sidoli, was a jockey, undefeated in difficult and dangerous numbers. Franzini Sidoli, the second son, great juggler, surprised everyone when he did his number with the 3 revolvers that he threw up in the air at a very great height, catch them all in his hands, and then suddenly fired all 3 shots at the same time. End of quote. But also the 2 daughters, Clotilda and Medea, horse women. Therefore, the cultural role assumed by Sidoli Circus in the Romanian scene is quite evident. A notable fact is that in addition to promoting the circus art that was masterfully performed by the acrobats, clowns and jugglers, Sidoli Circus also has the merit of having brought in front of the Romanian public Italian artists from abroad, coming from different artistic fields, thus facilitating the cultural exchange between the 2 spaces, Italian and Romanian. Another sector in which the presence of Italians can be felt is the press. Luigi Cazzavillan is well known in this field because he is the one who contributed to the development of the Romanian press by founding the first big Romanian newspaper, Universul. In an English translation it would be The Universe, which was published for the first time in 1884, alongside its numerous supplements. Universul Copiilor, the Children's Universe, Universul Literar, the Literary Universe, Ziarul Științelor Populare și al Călătoriilor, the Journal of Popular Sciences and Travels, Duminica Universului, the Sunday of the Universe, and its special editions, Universul de Crăciun, Christmas Universe, Universul de Anul Nou, New Year's Universe, Universul de Paște, Easter's Universe. Cazzavillan was also one of the first founders of the sports press in the Romanian territory, as well as of the first newspapers that contained paid advertising. He was also responsible for the foundation of the Regina Margherita Italian School in Bucharest, which operated until 1948. For the Moldavian region, the Italian presence has also brought benefits to the development of the press specialized in some particular issues. For example, Mercur, Jurnal Comercial al Portului Brăila, Mercury, commercial journal of the port of Brăila, was the first exclusively economic newspaper of the Romanian Principalities. It was first published in December 1839, in the beginning only in Romanian. Since 1840, it was organized into 2 columns, one in Romanian and the other one in Italian. Finally, it was distributed in 2 separate and simultaneous numbers starting from 1841. Other economic journal, this time from the city of Galați, was Dunărea, Jurnal de Comerț, Agricultură și Navigație. The Danube, Journal of Commerce, Agriculture and Navigation, founded by Mario Pietro Cugino, Italian immigrant from Piemonte, in December 1846. Cugino had been a commercial agent, but after obtaining Romanian citizenship, he had become a school inspector and then a judge of the commercial division of the local court. His weekly journal was printed in the typography of another Italian, Francesco Monferrato, which functioned between 1845 and 1871. The last example of a cultural transfer I will delve on in this presentation refers to the presence of Italian Catholic missionaries in the Romanian territory. In Moldavia, for the period that interests us, they belong to the Franciscan Order of Provincial Minors. According to a report from 1879 by Apostolic Visitor of Moldavia, Fidelis Dem, the Catholic mission in Moldavia counted that year 27 parishes, all with their own church and 69 churches, branches and chapels. The mission was made of 33 missionaries, of whom 22 were Italian, 6 Polish, 2 Hungarians, 2 Germans and 1 Slav. The activity of Catholic missionaries, even if we are talking about a numerically reduced mission, was felt through the involvement in the life of the community, through some Catholic schools and through the construction of Catholic churches. For example, in 1866, the missionary Nazareno Boli was writing from Săbăuani, the largest Catholic village in Moldavia, at that time situated in the Roman district, nowadays Neamț district, that he unfortunately had not seen throughout the Principality of Moldavia, neither to the Catholics nor to the Orthodox, not even a single statue representing Jesus, the Virgin Mary, or other saints. but only icons painted, quote, in bad taste that instead of soliciting piety and devotion, they'd rather make you laugh, end of quote. In addition, the document states that the various secret societies gained more and more followers, a fact that pushes Boli to commission a statue of Virgin Mary for the village, in the hope that it will protect and exalt the Catholic faith in the area. Another example of the involvement of the missionaries is that of the Italian community of Târgu Ocna. Priest Domenico Posta wrote to the Pope in 1899 on the situation of about 40 families of Italians who lived in the city, but who did not yet have a Catholic church. The nearest church was located a few kilometers away and prevented the Italian families from going to Mass and receiving the Holy Sacraments in very cold winters or during very hot summers. Posta also sent to the Pope the plan of the church he wanted to build in the city, made by one of the Italian masters of the community. To sum up, so far we saw some examples of how migration favors cultural transfer between the two different countries. Italian migration to Romania at the end of the 19th century and the beginning of the 20th century, like any migratory flow of any age and any place, left its mark, sometimes more visible, sometimes more discreet in the places and people involved. In the specific case study, the effects of this migratory flow are more evident on a physical level because Italians, immigrants in Romania, built railways, roads, bridges, buildings, many of which are still standing today. But their contribution is not limited to this, but as shown in the previous examples, it was also felt on other levels, from technological innovation in various sectors to the development of the local press, from the introduction of circus art to religious proselytism. Italian influence was being strongly felt in the Romanian space. Thank you for your attention.